If you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So my ultimate goal with Polarity Fitness is not to just give you guys a fish. It's not just to say, do this, do that. It's to teach you guys how to fish, and it's to equip you with the knowledge you need to achieve the physique of your dreams, maintain it for a lifetime, and equip you with the knowledge you need to make judgment calls and change things if need be to your personal preferences and your lifestyle. So I know a lot of you guys are following my free training programs, and these programs are absolutely fantastic, and they're some of my favorite routines. However, there are many different variations that can fall into my training philosophy. There's no need to be dogmatic, and some of you will do better by making changes that may suit your anthropology better, may suit your lifestyle better. So that's why I'm making this video. I want you guys to be equipped with the knowledge in order to, maneuver your way through the Polarity Fitness training philosophy and make it suit yourself better. So how you apply these principles will ultimately dictate the success of your fitness, right? And the big caveat, and the reason why I'm making this video, is that it's very easy to fuck this up. It is extremely easy to fuck this up because of all the outside noise from the fitness industry saying, do more volume, do more frequency, do these exercises, do those exercises. There's so much outside information, so much noise coming in left, right, and center in every field nowadays, for that matter. So that's why it's important, and I see the value in, giving courses, which I will release in the near future, and giving away free training programs and making very direct and streamlined content, because I think it's very valuable to give you guys the implementation so you're not sitting around trying to find this perfect routine, because the fact of the matter is that that does not exist, and what's most important is that you start taking action. So let me start by saying that the do more mentality that's pervasive in almost every field is probably the single biggest factor limiting the progress of most drug-free lifters. So there's obviously bodybuilders who do well by the train more to gain more philosophy, but these guys first have incredible genetics for bodybuilding, and they're blasting shitloads of gear, so they are not the role models for genetically typical drug-free lifters. So do not listen to bullshitters in the fitness industry telling you do more, you'll gain more. It's absolute bullshit. The Polarity Fitness training philosophy can be summed up in 3 words: less is more. So now we're going to get into the fundamentals and the tenets of successful drug-free training that are used in the Polarity Fitness training programs. So the fundamental tools in every successful training program is proper form, exercise selection, training volume, training frequency, training intensity, and strength building. And those are going to be the tools you'll see in every training program. That's what pretty much every program is made up of. And then the Polarity Fitness tenets, these are very particular to the Polarity Fitness training philosophy. And the first one is simplicity. So gains come from hard work on simple and basic routines that revolve around the big and basic exercises, getting strong at them, and proper rest. So you have to be aware of the many fads and the gimmicks, and the fads and gimmicks don't produce real results for drug-free lifters. So don't listen to anyone who promotes complicated training methods. They are con men, okay? So do not trust complication. If you see complication, run the other way, because it does not need to be that way, and these people are just trying to confuse you. So the next tenet is strength gains. So building a great natural physique, as I always say, comes down to a very simple equation. The stronger you get at the major compound lifts, the bigger and better your physique will look. So stronger you get, the bigger and better you will look as a whole. And so then the next tenet is basic. So the Polarity Fitness training routines contain no more than 5 to 8 major movements, along with just a few isolation exercises spread over 2 to 3 training sessions spread out over anywhere from 7 to 14 days. So that leads me into the next tenet, which is low volume and low frequency. So the Polarity Fitness training sessions will have you doing the key lifts no more than once per week, and more often every 8 to 14 days. So it's very, very low frequency, and this is what I truly believe will work best for the majority of the population. And the key is always to stimulate, not annihilate. So guys will have you go into the gym, throw 20 sets at your chest. By the end of the year, you're still benching 135 and your fucking chest is small. So that's absolute garbage. Do not ever annihilate. It's about doing just enough to stimulate, getting out of the gym, recovering, and growing back stronger. Recovery is super, super key. So you can't train hard using a high volume and high frequency routine. In the fitness industry, there's high volume and low intensity training, and then there's high intensity, low volume training. You cannot both train with a high intensity and a high volume. So you might think that you need to train more often, but you just have to trust me, you do not. Your body will thank you for this change of pace, and you're gonna be beaming with enthusiasm every time you walk in the gym. And after all, enthusiasm and sustainability is incredibly, incredibly important. And if I was in the gym, I love training, but if I was in the gym 7 days a week, I could not fucking sustain it. I would not be enthusiastic about anything. You know, it would be boring as shit. I would start to fall behind in all the other areas of my life. My enthusiasm would just go down because I become a gym rat, and that's not what you want. That's garbage. That's bullshit. So as a general rule of thumb, decrease the sets, increase the effort. That's a general rule of thumb that you need to live by with the Polarity Fitness training philosophy. Now we're gonna get into exercise selection. This is incredibly important. The foundation of your strength and muscle gains will come from picking a handful of mainstay compound lifts, around 4 to 8 exercises that work well for you and get extremely, extremely strong at them. That is the most important thing you will ever hear when it comes to your fitness, and I'm going to repeat it for that matter. The foundation of your strength and muscle gains will come from picking a handful of mainstay compound lifts that work really well for you and getting ridiculously strong at them. This is the key approach to adapt in any stage of your training, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, and this is what is going to build your muscle and strength base as a natural lifter. So the first step is going to be to find these mainstay compound lifts that work really well for you. And you guys will notice in all of my content, I put out this very streamlined message that, hey, if you want to build a great physique, get strong at the squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press, and weighted chin up. And these exercises have never failed me. These are some of my favorite exercises, and they are a clear-cut route to success. However, and I've been afraid to put this message out because I do not like confusing people. I don't like giving people kind of options because it promotes inaction. But the reality is, if you can't barbell squat, if you can't barbell back squat, that's not a big deal. You know, there are different variations to these exercises that will also work really well and give you similar success. However, these 5 exercises, the big 5, are what I promote because they are incredibly effective, and for most people, they are what's going to deliver the majority of the results. They've given me the greatest effect over the years. So, as I said, finding these mainstay compound lifts that really work well for you and you can get really strong at, that's your first step. Find these essential lifts that cover the majority of your physique and train the majority of your musculature. So it's really important to find those. And as I said, it could be the big 5 like I promote, or it could be other exercises. The point is that you just pick big basic exercises, big major compound lifts that train the majority of your physique. That's really all that matters. And you need to obviously cover a segment of movement pattern. So you need a squat, a hip hinge, you need a vertical pull, a vertical press, and you need a horizontal pull and a horizontal press. So once you've found these exercises that work best for you under that movement pattern category, you can vary the set and rep format that you use, but what's really key is that you stick with these exercises for a long time. You do not want to change them. It's really, really important that you abide by this, because too many people don't see results in 2 weeks and then they chop and change the entire routine. That will hinder progress. You have to stick with the same exercises long enough to milk them dry of strength gains. It's absolutely pivotal that you stick with the same exercises. So as I said, you can change up the set rep format, but you want to keep the exercises the same and really master them, milk them dry of strength gains, get really, really good at them. This is going to be the foundation for your strength and muscle gains, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. And it's the key approach to adopt at any stage of your training. This is very, very, very key. And I really want to impress upon you to not give up easily on the exercises that have the greatest benefits, like the big 5, for example. So the reason why I always say get strong at these 5 exercises, my big key lifts that I promote in all my training programs and all my content, the reason why I say that is because if I say otherwise, I know that at least 80% of people are going to ditch these exercises in favor of easier exercises, even if they have the ability to perform them well and it works well for them, because they're just so fucking hard. They're just such difficult movements. So a lot of people don't like them, and that's why I say it. That's why I have that streamlined message of get strong at these lifts, because they are the best lifts, in my opinion, under the category of those movement patterns. But other lifts do work well also. Do not get it twisted. Other lifts do work well, and you could easily pick variations of those exercises and do those instead if they work better for you. So that's why I'm making this video, is to give you guys the knowledge to and be equipped to be able to make those changes if need be, you know? So a lot of people make excuses saying that these exercises wouldn't work for their body, which is definitely possible, but most people just do not know proper form, and they haven't taken the time to, if maybe something's not right, to fix it in order to then go ahead and train these lifts. So I do impress upon you to try and train the big five, try and train the lifts that I promote. And if something really doesn't work for you, then you can switch it. Like for example, you don't need to barbell squat. You don't have to. I would highly recommend it. But you could easily do a safety bar squat. You could do like a trap bar deadlift that's a little bit elevated. It's almost like a squat. You can't conventional deadlift. Okay, maybe you could do a stiff leg deadlift. Maybe you could do a Romanian deadlift. You know, so there are different variations that also work well. What matters is that you're just picking big, major compound lifts. So, and even, as I said, even if when the form is dialed in, you still have these issues, then that's when you want to go ahead and change the variation, which is totally fine. As I said, just stick with those main movement patterns. So now we're going to get into workout structure. So the Polarity Fitness training programs contain 2 or at most 3 workout sessions per week and a different group of exercises for each session. So I often use lower frequencies than even twice per week. So sometimes I'll do every 4th day, every 5th day I'll train, or you could do 3 workouts spread out over 2 weeks. So you could do a Monday, Friday, Wednesday, Monday kind of setup, and that works really well. So the lower frequency works incredibly well, and I'm a big advocate of low frequency training. That's a big part of the Polarity Fitness training philosophy. So if you're doing 2 workouts a week, an effective training protocol would include a mix of 3 to 4 major compound exercises and 2 to 3 isolation movements. So if you're training 3 days a week, if you rather train 3 days per week, an effective training protocol would contain 2 to 3 compound lifts per session combined with 1 to 2 isolation movements. So I'm almost giving you guys kind of like slots in a sense. So another way to look at it would be to look at the overall sets in a workout. So typically the Polarity Fitness training systems will have a total of 8 to 15 total sets per workout. So if you're training 3 days per week, you want to stick on the lower end of 8 to 10. And if you're training twice per week, you want to stay on the higher end of, 13 to 15 sets total per workout. So you could do, a twice weekly full body workout that works really well. And I've made a lot of progress on that. You could train Monday, Friday, for example, and you would do a different set of exercises in each workout. And you could also do an upper body day and a lower body day, so to just group the broad areas together and train each area once per week. Or you could simply divide your training and your exercises over 3 days per week if you prefer hitting, training 3 days per week, but you'd also just hit each muscle group once per week. So if you're training, the first style that I promote is the 2 day per week full body sessions with different set of exercises in each routine. There's a lot of overlap there because you're going to be hitting each muscle group roughly twice per week. So if you prefer to have that little bit extra frequency, that works well because you're getting a lot of rest with the extra rest days as well, so it works. You're oftentimes just going to hit each muscle group once per week, which is completely fine, and I more often than not promote doing that, so that works really well. So the last thing, that's really the structure. It's really simple. You almost have the slots given out for you right there. So I want to end off by saying about the structure that 4 or more workouts per week have little to no potential for yielding gains to drug-free lifters, no matter how dedicated they are, to be honest with you. So, few genetically typical drug-free lifters can maintain 4 workouts per week for a long time. It may work for a little bit of time, but there comes a certain point where they're just going to end up going through the motions instead of actually training hard, providing the right amount of stimulus in each workout. And even if they were able to provide the stimulus necessary in each workout because maybe they have a really lax life, they don't have a lot of responsibility, they're really young, even if they could manage, they're not giving their body enough days to turn the stimulation into growth. You're not giving yourself enough recovery days. So never do I ever recommend training more than 3 days per week. 3 days per week is the upper limit. So now we're gonna get into the sets and reps. So each exercise in your program is gonna be done for 1 to 3 total sets using the reverse pyramid style that I promote, which is going to be a top set. You're gonna warm up to a top set, heavy set for anywhere from 4 to 6 reps or 6 to 8 reps. Then you're gonna rest 3 to 5 minutes, take off 10%, drop the weight, go for a couple more reps. So that's how the reverse pyramid style works. Or you could just do one all-out set, which also works well for some exercises like deadlifts, for example. So with the key exercises, you're always gonna be using that reverse pyramid style with the top set and then the back off sets going lighter, getting a bit more volume. But with the isolation movements, with the smaller movements that aren't the key big major movements, you're just gonna be using straight sets across, which could either be, as I said, 1 to 3 sets of anywhere from 10 to 20 reps. So as I said, 8 to 15 total sets per workout, and on the higher end you'll be doing 13 to 15 for the 2 workouts per week, and if you're training just 3 days per week, you'll be doing a little bit less. You'll be in kind of that 8 to 10 total sets per workout range, right? So for a 2 day per week for a 2-day per week full body workout, be doing 6 to 8 total work sets on the compounds and 6 total sets for the isolation movements. If you're training 3 days per week, like not full body sessions, you'll be doing 5 to 6 total sets for compounds and 4 total for isolation exercises. So let me repeat that one more time. If you're doing a 2-day per week full body split, you'll be doing 6 to 8 total work sets on the compounds and then 6 total sets for the isolation movements, right? That's for 2 days per week. If you're training 3 days per week, you're gonna be doing 5 to 6 total sets on the compounds and 4 total for isolation movements. So that's the set structure. And I wanna finish off by saying, without sufficient intensity, the low volume style of training is not going to work. You have to bring a lot of intensity. So if you feel the need to add sets to this, you aren't bringing enough effort. I will tell you that 110%. You are not bringing enough effort if you think you want to add to this. So adding to this is going to fuck your progress. It's going to dilute your effort from what really matters, which is getting strong, bring a lot of intensity into the big compound lifts, the big major movements that you're prioritizing, right? So you never have to do more. Focus more on the effort. Focus more on the effort than the quantity, right? So as far as customization goes, the guidelines I provided are going to work for almost everybody, no matter the lifestyle you live, because I am a big advocate of not living in the gym, prioritizing the other areas of your life, and really not being a gym rat, not living this bodybuilding lifestyle, because it's fucking stupid. You want to be a well-rounded person. You want to be striving for mastery in all the other areas of life, right? So guidelines I provided are going to fall right in line with that philosophy that I promote with my brand, right? But even if you have a laborious job, let's say you have a lot of responsibility, you have a family, you work night shifts, you're not gonna have the same recovery ability as someone, for example, my age at 18 years old, right? With not as many, and without a family and without those kinds of responsibilities. So you need to adjust the volume and frequency to one that allows you to consistently get stronger and add weight to the bar. So progress must always be judged based on your ability to add weight to the bar. And if you're not adding weight to the bar, then you oftentimes will need to lower the volume, lower the frequency to one that will allow you to start adding weight to the bar at a consistent rate. So do not ever mess with what works. So the thing is, guys, is that, this is it's almost like a non-sexy style of training, because what it really advocates is really mastering getting strong at the same lifts over and over again, because that's the secret sauce to your success. The ones who embrace that fact are going to see the best results. But some people have like ADHD and they can't stick with something for 2 weeks before they switch it up. You have to milk what you're doing, drive progress, and embrace the boredom of doing the same thing for a long time. Those are the people who are going to achieve success in life, the people who are able to do the same boring shit that gets results over and over and over and over again. That's really, really important. This is where progress is made, and most people can't endure it, but it's truly the secret. So as you get older, because I know I have a lot of older followers that are gonna fuck with this message. As you get older, I need to appeal to you guys as well. As you get older, you're gonna need to slow down your rep execution a little bit. This is something I've definitely learned because I got my dad into some training, there's a couple things I've noticed. My dad's 50, so for the 50 and over crew, this is something I've noticed. Slowing down the rep execution, not doing touch and go, like really slowing down your rep execution, changing your exercises more to suit your body, and work in higher rep ranges. You want to work in higher rep ranges if you're a little bit older. It's going to work a lot better for your joints and for your overall build. It's going to help quite a bit, especially because your testosterone limits are going to plummet as you get older, and you need to account for that, right? So you're going to need to adjust the volume and frequency a little bit as well. And last thing, guys, beginners shouldn't customize anything, to be honest. This is why I give out programs. This is why I'm going to release courses, because beginners are not yet equipped with the knowledge needed to be able to make these judgment calls. They're simply not. And that's something you're going to have to accept, right? So you're not really in tune with your training and recovery needs yet, which is why I do not recommend you change a single fucking thing and you hop on the programs that I put out. And I'm going to continue to give out different types of training programs. And I'm going to create a PDF lead magnet to put with this video so you guys can pick that up. I'll email it to you. It's going to be pretty much this video, but in the format of a document, so you have something easy to refer to, and I'll make slots and everything to make it super easy for you guys. So ultimately, the last thing we're going to talk about is the missing key, and I can provide you with all the info and guidance you'll ever need, but only you can provide the desire, the dedication, the discipline, and the focus and concentration to put this into action, to implement the instructions I give you. So the biggest roadblock for most lifters is too much deliberation on training and too much theorizing. There's too much thinking and not enough doing, not enough action. Action is 100% the most important thing. So a lot of lifters I've found from my time creating content, being on the internet, a lot of lifters seek the perfect routine, and it distracts them from making progress on really good routines. So you have to stop searching for the perfect routine, stop chopping and changing everything, and just stick with something for long enough. And if you have this fucking mentality of perfect, you have to take imperfect action, guys. You're never going to be able to stick with something long enough to see much of a difference if this is the way you approach your training. Just get to fucking action. When I was beginning training, I did not have all my ducks in a row, but I had a strong desire and I wanted to make shit happen. And then here I am today, like 5-6 years later, right? With all this knowledge just simply from trial and error. Just putting things together, you know? So there's no single routine that works well for all lifters, and these principles will guide you on the fundamentals of how to properly apply effective training. And this is the reason why I created this video. It's because, yeah, the free programs I put out are fucking fantastic, but I did make them for myself, right? So there are people who are going to have some physical limitations or health limitations that may have to cause them to switch things up and more customize it for themselves, right? So that's why I made this video. So when it comes down to what matters most, it's really applying these routines for week after week, month after month, year after year, and then delivering the goods every time you step in the gym. So one rep, one set at a time. And most lifters are not doing this. This is where most lifters are lacking. It's that those day-to-day wins, that getting 1 to 2% better every week that most people aren't doing. So effective training isn't easy when properly applied. There's no way to make hard training comfortable. So stop trying to make things easier and just get to fucking work, guys. A lot of people are gonna think, yeah, your volume frequency is too low, but this training is fucking brutally tough. It's very hard because it's focused on what matters most, which is not easy, right? And so just don't wait for the ideal conditions, as they'll never come. Just get to action, start training, start putting these proper tenets, these fundamentals to play, right? So it's easy to be enthusiastic. A lot of people are enthusiastic about training when they're not training, but then when they get to that last brutal rep on the squat or the deadlift or whatever, they feel severe discomfort with their training, and all the determination they had disappears, right? So you need to be able to step up in those moments, and that's the true test of desire and what separates those who get good results from great results. So it's really about putting this shit to action, having the strong desire, and consistently getting stronger at those lifts, right? So this is very simple stuff. This is the Polarity Fitness training in a nutshell. This is how everything is structured, and this is why it works so well, right? So if you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe, of course. Make sure you pick up my free natural muscle building checklist. And as I said, I'm gonna create a PDF to go with this eventually, so you guys have this video, but in a document format to be able to refer to when needed. So we'll talk soon, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.